What about methods of kumite? Did you guys have prearranged kumite or stuff like Toguchi Sensei's Kiso kumite style?
Okay, I really enjoyed going to Toguchi Sensei's dojo for the Gigha, the Kakoha, and the kind, and so I learned that a lot. And then he had the Kiso kumites. Now I think in those days.
Are you doing one-step sparring?
Well, the Kiso kumite is made of 4 steps.
Right.
And I can't remember too well, but I think in Toguchi Sensei's dojo, we had the kata, the bunkai, and the Kiso kumite. That was really the breadwinner in his dojo. Okay, so we didn't vary. Asoka, I remember a little bit now when we had drills down the dojo, which was taking certain parts of the Kiso kumite just to get it better and better, like that. Yeah, but
at the Higa dojo.
No, this was at Toguchi Sensei's dojo. But the Higa Sensei's dojo, we would just take a part of a kata, and like in Kobudo, and just do it over and over again, and just develop the bunkai for that part of the kata.
I'm not sure how to describe this, especially in terms of the interview, but to me, one of the things that really impressed upon me how to train the kata was the demonstration you gave me back at Terry Reed's dojo, where you talked about when you would work the kata, and you would work every direction in this. As you start to go do the kata, you would work the kata in a way that you. Can you describe that, or how that was taught, or maybe you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about because I remember talking about that. But the thing is, in most dojos, they didn't stress. Well, I keep saying because in Higa dojos there are like 2 classes, the 1 to 9 o'clock and 1 to 11 o'clock. So when that was over, then everybody just trained the first hour, or some people, some of the older students didn't come back anymore, of course. But I'm sure every dojo, by the time you make high-level black belts, you have to understand that kind of training because that's the part of the Goju. Like when you're doing something like when we do our bunkai, like in Seinchin, where you do a head chest cover and uppercut like this, right? When you make your turn to the right. Well, you want to hit, and hit. Now, this has to also move. When you hit down, you got to move because if I have your hand here. If I just let go or don't have any pressure on it, you're still free to move. Even when I'm doing the uppercut, I want to hold you. I want to hold you. I want to hold you every time, so you can't move away. Right. Okay. Then when I start to turn you down, I want to pull you. Just bring your head in a little bit, so I can go right behind your head to pull your head down to my knee. So those little particular movements in the kata were really stressed more after you get a higher level, maybe after you made black belt, then they start, like they say, when you make black belt, that's when you start to study karate, they say, right? So these are the little things that they would start bringing out to you.
There was no particular thing that they taught, no particular name for that kind of training or anything like that kind of describes.
If they did, I didn't really recognize it, but they would just say, Kodisho, like this, right? Kodisho. It's like the Skushukutai, a little hard here. And but not. They would explain it to me one way and maybe explain to somebody else another way because there wasn't really a special way. They must have it in their own language, in the Okinawan language, especially some way of explaining that. But I never run across that.
Yeah, I can't think of how to explain it either.
Really.
I think it's something that can't come
even
across
in English. If you're teaching for a long time, when your student gets up to Shodan level and then Nidan, what do you teach them? They've
got
got
so fine a point.
Exactly, the finer point, but they've learned so much up to this time, but that's just the shell outside, right? What they have to do now is the internal working of the kata, which means those little quick movements. Because those movements are, so if I have your hand here, if I just do this way, you just pull away. Right. Easy. Okay, now pull away. I don't give you a chance. I have a chance to move against what you were moving there, you see. I mean, everything, like when you see Mr. Liu train, it's just so much like Goju Liu training in the second class. Very cool. I mean, he has this quick movements that's just, you don't know where they come from, but you do the same thing if you think about it in the Goju Liu. You know what I mean? If you have the second class.
Right.
That's why I really like being with Mr. Liu because he brings back a lot of memories to me. Yeah.
You've told me before a lot about how you've spent so much time with the Higa family, and I know this personally because I went with Jay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But can you explain more about how you ended up spending so much time and became so close to the family, and how you know?
Well, I kind of think it's kind of was a natural thing, because I was there at the dojo a lot during the daytime, and Mrs. Higa, Sekichi Sensei's wife, very beautiful lady, oh my gosh, very sweet lady, and she would pass by the dojo, which was, her house was right behind the dojo. This is when we lived in the Sobe dojo. I mean, Yogimachi dojo. And I can remember her walking past the little alley between another house beside the dojo and then that dojo, and she just walked by and she just ding, 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 just looking to her left into the dojo to see who's there, just konnichiwa, konnichiwa. You just see this little head, beautiful little lady's head go by the window from 2 or 3 times a day like that. And then the Higa Sensei, when he came home from work, Seikichi Sensei, he'd be the same, konnichiwa, konnichiwa, really funny voice, you know. So all those kind of things you kind of remember like that. Anyway, she had her children there, 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Sachie was the youngest, it was a little girl. And I remember when she was just born, and just tiny little lady, and watching her grow up she had a little play area between the dojo and their house, which is in the back there, and there was another alley that had a house. It was just all blocked in by houses there, and a very safe place for the kids to play. And which I still have a picture for, like, under 3 years old, just below 3 years, real cute little dress, and really looked like a little doll, just really beautiful. And her one other brother, her brothers, and herself, I gave her at that time a little locket for her neck, like a little necklace thing. And then I gave the brothers something from the Marine Corps. I forget what it was. It might have been a bayonet or something like that. And then one of them one day, I was talking about the military or something to them, and he drew. It was only like, I think he was like 6 or 7 years old, and he drew me in a sitting position with a rifle, and he had the guns, the crayons, like going, making fire of the guns. So, and this was like in the early 60s, right, or middle 60s at that time. Well, I had been going back and forth to Okinawa all the other times, but one time we were in their house, after everything was new built, in 1968, and she went into her house, into her room. I was in the living room there with the family, and brought out this little locket, and I hardly even recognized it. But then it was like maybe 15 years old or so, and then her sons, her brothers came out with a picture that he drew, and the kids, I think it was a bayonet or something that I'd given him. So one had a bayonet, one had a drawing he drew of me, and she had the little locket. So those things really, really mean something to you, really make you feel like you're really part of that family.
Right.
Yeah. And when I was there many times, if I come there sometimes I would be off to another part of the Marine Corps, but I'd come to Okinawa. And they would get on the phone, and Kimo's here, so people would come by just to see me, just for an evening,
Right.
Takamine Sensei, Kuna Sensei, Gibo Sensei.
Excellent.
It was a lot of fun.
So, since there were so many seniors, eventually they formed their own dojos closer to their homes. Is that how that normally happens? I mean,
that's exactly right. Yeah, Kuna Sensei lives in Kadena town. So he's had his dojo for a long time, but that's why he would take a lunch break or something and come and study in the daytime. He came sometime at night, but especially in the daytime. And so he had his own dojo even in the 60s, attached to his house. Gibo Sensei always just had his in the dojo until about the 70s. Sometime he built his first dojo, and then he moved from that house into another house and made a big, beautiful dojo, and his house was even bigger and everything.
Down in Itoman.
Itoman. Yes, you went to that dojo,
yes.
Right? Itoman dojo. It was very beautiful. Yeah, very nice. And
so just eventually they moved away from going to the Hambu
well,
dojo.
especially when the masters die, that's when they have it's sort of it's not a disrespectful thing. It's just okay, we can just take it easy now the rest of our lives, because he's gone, so we can settle down in our own dojo and raise our children our own way,
Right. And then they get get back together?
There's always celebrations, and I mean, of course, they have celebrations every year of the anniversary of their death and so. So there's always something going on like that, and there's always the Oban, and there's all kind of stuff going on. Paranku, what do you call the Okinawa in August? There's a lot of like the August moon, what do you call it, the harvest time.
Right.
A lot of people getting together. And they celebrate that now. America, Father Christmas, they don't usually, before they didn't celebrate Christmas because they didn't understand Christmas. But now they have a little thing for Christmas. Oh, one thing that happened with Jay Schwartzman. In 1968, I had 28 people at a Christmas party. And it was mostly kids. Had some kids in the dojo, okay? This was in 1968. 30 years later, Jay had in 1998 280 people. 10 times more. He had to go to the base. Everybody load a bus and go to the base. So, I mean, Jay was that was another good story about Jay. Mrs. Higa even told me that we had another Marine, Jay Schwartzman.
Right.
Yeah. And he sort of followed in my footsteps. Well, you know, he started at UMass in the 90s.
Right.
And then he joined the Marine Corps. 4 years at university and 4 years in the Marine Corps. And then he went to Europe for a while. Then he got stationed in Okinawa with a civilian job. And he stayed there for it was a civilian government job.
Right. For how many years?
Pardon me?
For how many years did Jay live in Okinawa now?
I know it's 8 years for sure, but it might have been more. And he's in Washington, D.C. now with the same, similar, not similar, a different job now, but they want him to come back to Okinawa, and he's thinking that he'll get the same job again and probably retire in Okinawa someday. He and his wife.
Yeah.
And they're just having a baby. Baby.
They just had a baby?
No, January. I think January. It's due in January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I know I only took a couple notes on this before, but can you tell us about Kimo Sensei? Can you tell me about Kimo Sensei just so that I get everything on the...
Oh, Kimo Sensei.
Sensei.
Okay. Well, in the 60s, he was at the Higa Dojo a lot. Mm-hmm. And he was the one kind of, though, that was ready to start his own dojo. Mm-hmm. So he made his dojo Junko-kan. Junko is Miyagi Chojun and his name Ko. Okay? Seiko. Yeah. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to use Miyagi Sensei's name and his name unless you were really, really, really tight, or you'd be laughed off the island, or maybe hung. But he had his dojo, Junko-kan. And when he made his own dojo, I went there many times because it's just fun to play with him, to train with him, because he's such a good teacher and a really small person, and like to nitpick, the particular parts of the kata. So it was really fun.
You said he was very close to Miyagi Sensei.
Yes, he was like Miyagi Sensei's house mouse. I mean, he took care of the garden. He took care of Miyagi Sensei a lot. He was hair lip. So in those days, like in most places, I think even in America, if you have a hair lip, people kind of look down upon you, but you're different than everybody. So they don't. You're not treated like everybody else are. You're not respected, not disrespected, but you're not exactly the same.
Right.
But Miyagi Sensei taught him as an equal, and he said he tested me on many things, many ideas. So
yeah.
He was really, really popular with Miyagi Sensei.
Yeah. Was there anything unique about the things that he taught that you didn't see elsewhere?
Well, he and Takamine Sensei were two of the smallest Okinawan masters I've ever seen. So their technique were all low technique, but he could sometimes some Japanese university students would come and study in Okinawa, and they would go to the Higa Dojo, and they were talking about Sensei. They were maybe almost 6 feet tall, some of these Japanese guys. So if I'm so tall here, how can you get your technique up to my upper body? And he would just hit him in the groin, and their face would be right down there. They say, "Kore, this way," So I mean, you can't fool them. There's no like, how would you do this? It's simple. You just do it,
Right. You said, did you say that something about Super Impe that he taught? Did he teach more than one Super Impe?
I can't say that it's a different one, but he did some different moves in it. Like where you hit your hand in the front for the crescent kick like that. he would do it behind him, hit there and then jump up to the kick, and he told me that you do the parts here that are open hand or the parts that are Phoenix fist. And other people go this way. He said, "Oh, it's okay to go this way." He said, "This is the old way to do the Phoenix."
Also coming up the front one?
Yes, yes. Always, in most karate in Okinawa, when they made the fist, they used the Phoenix fist, especially in the Goryuri.
And he taught Sochin.
Sochin and Naihanch, and Sochin and Naihanch. Is that the only thing I learned from him? Oh, and he taught the Sanchin, which in Kodokan, we open one side and go down, open the other side and go down. But all other dojos go together like that.
Right.
So he said that's what Miyagi Sensei taught him, so he liked to do that way. But it's like he was like I said, like a house mouse to Miyagi Sensei. So Miyagi Sensei taught and experimented with him some things that weren't off the wall. They were just practical. Just do it this way or just do it the way we've been doing it. But he said, okay, you can go this way, you can go that way. So he adopted a lot of those things that he liked to do. And like the kick, like in Kurorunfa, a lot of the kicks, when the Japanese started coming to Okinawa, they learned like the Shotokan, use the side of the foot where you do a downside kick and just turn their body to the side. That isn't the Okinawa way. They call it the Chinese kick. And you use your heel, but your toes are pointed up toward your body. And really distinctly using your heel like that, right? And like I was doing in Paranku, this kind is the original
heel kick.
Way. Even when you kick to the side, the Japanese, they look this way and just turn their hip up just like that, right, to hit to the side. Well, Okinawans, they turn their body a little bit and use the bottom of the foot to hit to the side like that, instead of doing the foot.
Is the angle still, can you show me how the angle of that works?
Okay. If I'm like this and I want to side kick you, I'm just going to kick this way. But the Japanese, they lean away here, they put your foot up like that on the side, which I can't even do.
So it's just a heel kick, but it aims not to the front, but to the top.
Exactly. And they hit really hard.
And that's the way Kurorunfa was done.
Yes, it was still, and just like that. Yeah. So strange, that's good.
It's different.
Because when people get together for certain demonstrations, big demonstrations, they might have 3 or 4 different kan from dojos, right? And they look, let's see how he does the kick.
Right.
Chigao, that's not the way to do it. Because they say Higa Sensei's way was the way to do it, Right. And also Higa Sensei had a different sanseiru. Did I ever teach you the sanseiru?
Yes, that's it.
The other one, the Higa Sensei. Okay.
I think we've got quite a lot here. I think we've got plenty to do.
I don't even know all that I said, but it just rambled on there,
Well, I'll make sure that after I write it all up, I'm going to send it to you for approval before I
said anything that I felt, so a lot of good memories too, so.
Very good stuff. So I'll make sure after I combine.
And I would like in the Shoreikan part, I want you to give some respect to Tamano Shinoda, Tamano and Shinoda, who taught me a lot of the Shoreikan technique. They were really great guys.
You trained with, in Okinawa, was that before or after Puerto Rico?
No,
are you training
when I first started in Puerto Rico, this is after. Because I went back to Okinawa in 1967, and that's when I met Tamano and Shinoda.
Okay.
First time I met them, they came together. Then the second year, Tamano came, and the third year, Shinoda came, because Tamano had come to America to teach in New York City.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I got that clearly, Sensei. You met them both in Okinawa first.
Okinawa, yes, they were in Okinawa.
Then when you went to Puerto Rico and you opened a school there, you sponsored Shinoda.
Shinoda, yeah. But they were university students. They were both different universities. They were both captains of their university teams of Goju-ryu, where Toguchi had taught. Okay. And so they were representative for Shoreikan.
Okay.
And at that time, I didn't respect it. I mean, I liked them very much, so I joined Shoreikan for a while. Even went to Puerto Rico. My first dojo was Shoreikan because I liked Master Matayoshi and I liked Higa Sensei. So I asked Higa Sensei, the son, what should I do? I'm getting ready to get out of the Marine Corps. I want to go to Puerto Rico, but should I be Shodokan or Master Matayoshi's Kodokan? He said, well, you can be Master Matayoshi's Kodokan because that's the last thing you do. The Kobudo is kind of incorporate everything. Everybody's just so good, friendly. Mm-hmm. And If I had thought about it, though, I would have probably said I would stay Shodokan all the way from 1962 on, but I wasn't thinking too good. But today, I'm happy with what I've done and my history, but I would rather have been more Shodokan all the way. I like to wear the patch because it's like my home, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, you're still always a member of the Shodokan.
They're my family for sure. Yeah.
The Shodokan's always been fairly low key. Is there any, you know what I mean?
Shodokan?
Shodokan.
But because it's in Naha and it's not near any military bases, and in the modern days, from 70s on, people have more opportunity to go to that Shodokan dojo. Also, some of those teachers went to Europe, and a lot of opened up. There's more Shodokan in Europe than there is in America.
Chinen. Is that what his name is?
There's the one Chinen, he's shorter than you. And then
I'm sorry. That's Kobudo. That's it's Oshiro.
Oshiro-san. He's in France.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But there's never been any goals to try to, make it anything big. It's just been a family
we try
thing.
To keep it as low as possible.
Keep it small and quiet.
I mean, it seems like it's worked out better that way. A lot of people, when they started hearing about it, a lot of people went to interview Higa Sensei, Sekichi Sensei in the modern time, and finally he did not take any more interviews because he thought, well, they're just picking on us now. Because somebody would come there and this one guy, he's there for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and he didn't train all the time because his arm was in a sling. But he says he's the American founder of the Shodokan. He's not in California, some guy from Iranian or something. Very wiped out.
Well, Sensei, I think we've got plenty. So I think, at least to get something together and have you to take a look at it. So if you can give me a week or two to get it all put back to merge everything that we talked about tonight into what you wrote me before, then that'll be great.
Because I have to, because of my history, I have to give Shoreikan a good part of my history because I do their kata, the Giksai, the Gighan, the Kakoha, which is very good, even though we don't do the Bunkai the same.
Right.
And I would hate for something to really come between us, like Tamano and Shinoda. Shinoda doesn't study anymore, but Tamano is in charge of Europe or something.
Yes.
And they got Scott Lindsay in New York, all these kind of people around the States from time to time. Across the States, I run across people. Like in Oklahoma, there's a lot of Shoreikan people. Yeah. And where was it? At the thing in 2000 in Atlanta, where was it?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Dan Smith.
Yeah. Well, at that, the people from India came up because they heard there's somebody that an American that studied in Okinawa. They came up to me and asked me to come to India, but they were trying to join. They had joined Shoreikan. So somebody from Shoreikan had gone to India and opened up a branch there. And they had like 5,000 students or something.
Wow.
Great.
All right. Do you want to give me any kind of parting thoughts about like something to wrap up the interview that says like what your hopes are for the Kodokan and your students, and anything about your main students, Giles Sensei or Vicky Sensei? Do you want to say anything in here about that?
Okay, well, in all my years of training, one of the best places, every place I've been, I've enjoyed teaching and training. University of Puerto Rico and University in Massachusetts. And that's where Giles Sensei, he came from like making Sandan and Taekwondo, changed right over to Goju Ryu, and now he's one of my senior men students, and Vicky Farmer in Tennessee. So I just hope that the people that I have taught can really work, discover the karate more and more, and for themselves. We say we're Kodokan or Shodokan or whatever, just remain true to your heart more than anything else, and just keep training. Don't take everything at face value, just work it out, for bunkai or whatever. And that's one thing, every dojo in Okinawa seems to have a different bunkai. And but here in Giles Hopkins, Miyagi Sensei said that people always ask him about the karate, right? he always said that the secrets of Goju-ryu karate is in the kata. And I think every karate master in Okinawa has either said that or really meant that. You know, because if you study the kata like we do Saiko Bunkai, Seichi Bunkai, Shisoji Bunkai, if you take it a step further than what people have done, and even in Okinawa, you find much more meaning to it. And I meeting Mr. Liu, which showed me the little intricate power, I can really see more coming out of the way that we do Bunkai from Okinawa Karate, Okinawa Goju. But anyway, just to keep people going, and if they have the opportunity to further their life, and some people, if you're lucky, like JD. Several years ago, I was giving seminars in Boulder, Colorado, and he came to the dojo and became good friends. And I was talking about acupuncture and Thai massage and things like that, and he said, you know, that sounds like something I might like to do. So it's like he blames me for becoming a Chinese doctor for that, you know, and I like that. But he's not the only one. There's other doctors, other people who have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And some have still in contact with me. And when I met Mr. Liu, he was an acupuncturist, and he knew herbology and all this kind of stuff. So he's like, it was supposed to be that way in Okinawa. I think I mentioned here a man, his name was Miyagi, and near the Hika Dojo. He was taught acupuncture and herbology. Now, to bring the medicine field back into the martial arts was one of my goals.
Right.
Now, everybody cannot do it. It's almost impossible. But if you have opportunity to study something like that, just the Thai massage, it really helps people a lot. But if you have a chance to have somebody in a dojo who's an acupuncturist, train them. Let it be really a strong part of that dojo, you know. So improve the martial arts as best you can. Not just kata and bunkai, but karate, kobudo, and something else, some medical field, you know, to bring it back to home, you know.